Good to have you with us this morning. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. We begin with the two biggest themes that have dominated President Trump's return to office: his ongoing push to downsize the federal government and his tariffs on America's biggest trading partners. Last night, the Department of Education announced it would be slashing its workforce by about half. That means around 1,300 employees will receive termination notices. The move is the first in the Trump administration's plans to eliminate the department altogether, though that would require congressional approval. As for trade policy, overnight, the Trump administration imposed a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports. It's the latest escalation in a global trade war that is roiling financial markets. This morning, the European Union says it will retaliate by imposing tariffs on $28 billion worth of U.S. goods starting in April. Speaking at a business roundtable yesterday, the president again defended his trade policy.
But the biggest win is if they move into our country and produce jobs. That's a bigger win than the tariffs themselves. But the tariffs are going to be throwing off a lot of money to this country. And we've been ripped off for years by other countries.
In a few moments, we'll hear from NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung. First, let's bring in NBC News Education Rahema Ellis to talk more about these cuts at the Department of Education. Good to have you with us. So what do we know about these cuts? What is the Trump administration saying about why they're doing this right now?
They're following through on a promise that the president made when he campaigned for office, and even in his first term, he made an effort to dismantle the Department of Education. We're talking about about 4,400 employees, and the notice went out to them, to half of them almost, yesterday, that's saying that they were going to be laid off. And today, the Department of Education is not open. The word was that Wednesday it would be shut down, that people would take their laptops from home, laptops with them to home. But if you call the Department of Education, which we'll do a little bit later this morning to find out if anybody will pick up the phone. But what it means, they said, that workers will be placed on administrative leave and starting March 21st for many of them. One of the things we don't know is exactly how some of the jobs that those workers will be doing, where they will be compensated in other places. But Linda McMahon, who is the Secretary of the Department of Education, she had this to say about the move. Take a listen.
What we did today was to take the first step of eliminating what I think is bureaucratic bloat. And that's not to say that a lot of the folks, it's a humanitarian thing too. A lot of the folks that are there, they're out of a job. But we wanted to make sure that we kept all of the right people. We're not taking away education. The president never said that. He's taken the bureaucracy out of education so that more money flows to the states.
And she said that money is still going to go to special education programs and other programs which are very important in the Department of Education, Title I, to how they also administer college funding programs. But the question is, how are you going to do it, and where will it be done, and can you do it with fewer employees?
And it's a huge question a lot of people have because they need those programs right now. What is some of the reaction we're getting from lawmakers, from those in education? Many questioning, like, what's going to be the impact of this, right?
Exactly. Some people are saying that it will have a tremendous impact, first and foremost, on morale of those employees who remain at the Department of Education. And then others are worrying about, are you putting at risk some of the students around the country? There are 50 million public school students. Are you putting them at risk in terms of the services that they'll be receiving? Linda McMahon suggests that that will not happen. There are some others who are saying, as long as the funding continues from Congress, that these programs should continue. But again, the question becomes one of how do you administer those programs? But the funding, and I heard no talk of cutting funding. That's critical. If that were to be cut, we'd be having a different story right now.
One of the reasons this is no surprise is because we heard the Trump administration wants to get rid of the Department of Education, but that's not easy. Where does that process stand? What needs to happen for the department to totally go away?
Yeah, the Department of Education was created under Jimmy Carter in 1979, but since then, presidents have been trying to get rid of it. But it's the smallest department of all the cabinet departments in the government. And however, it requires the same thing as the other departments. That is congressional approval. It takes Congress to eliminate it. It takes 60 votes to do that. They've only got 53 Republicans to do it right now. And so many are thinking that you may not get rid of it, but you could diminish the power of the Department of Education in the meantime.
All right, Rahema Ellis, good to have you with us this morning. Thank you so much. Let's focus in on the economy and trade now with Brian Chung. So, Brian, a new day, a new set of tariffs in effect. What's going to be impacted by these steel and aluminum levies?
Yeah, well, any sort of imports that come into the United States that are steel or aluminum from any country around the world, this is industry-based, not country-based, will be hit with that 25% tariff, which means that it will be 25% more expensive for American importers to bring in those raw materials to make a washing machine or to make a vehicle here in the United States. But I want to point out that the stats bear out that the countries that would be most impacted by these tariffs would be our neighbors to the north and south. Canada is the largest importer for both steel and aluminum into the United States. Actually, Mexico also is the second biggest trade partner with the United States on the steel front. And aluminum, can't underscore just how much we bring in from Canada. We brought in 8 times more from Canada than we did for our next trading partner, which was the UAE, in the last year. So again, these are our major trade partners that we're now hitting with this 25% tariff. Jeff.
So for a moment, it looked like these new tariffs were actually going to be even higher for Canada. Just a quick recap of what we've seen this week. Ontario's Premier Doug Ford threatened to impose a 25% surcharge on electricity to the U.S. We talked about that yesterday. Then Mr. Trump threatened a 50% tariff. Everyone then seemed to take a deep breath after Ford spoke with the U.S. Commerce Secretary. Tell us about how all of this played out and just what happens next.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I was on Wall Street all day yesterday, and it was a roller coaster in the markets because of the headlines around the tariffs. As you mentioned, we started off the day yesterday with the announcement that the Trump administration was going to raise the tariff on steel and aluminum, specifically from Canada, from 25% to 50%. And then later on in the day, we got the de-escalation with the announcement from Doug Ford, the Ontario Premier, in tandem with the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, announcing that they would be suspending on the Ontario side of things that 25% electricity surcharge to the 3 states of New York, Minnesota, and Michigan. And then later on, after the market closed, we got the announcement from the Trump administration that they would not be raising the tariffs on steel and aluminum from Canada from 25 to 50%, that it would remain at 25%. Again, still substantial, which did take effect. But again, it just underscores that we go through like a month's worth of tariff policy in one day. And this is the kind of the tariff policy approach that we've been seeing from the Trump administration, which is offering no reprieve or solace to any sort of investors that are trying to figure out exactly what's going on.
And then again, as we mentioned, the European Union, again, our allies, retaliating against these latest tariffs with their own measures. Do we know what kind of U.S. goods are being targeted here?
Yeah, the European Union responding very quickly as soon as those steel and aluminum tariffs were put into place, announcing their own tariffs on American imports. They're targeting a wide range of different industries, but some examples that the European Union cited were things like motorbikes as well as boats and alcohol. They specifically cited bourbon from Kentucky. So the EU described these tariffs from the United States on steel and aluminum as, quote, unjustified, although I do want to point out that the amount of imports that we have in terms of steel and aluminum from the European Union is definitely small compared to what we bring in from Mexico and Canada. But nonetheless, the EU also published a list of potential items that they could tariff going forward, and it is 99 pages long. So again, this is just the beginning here, Joe.
That is a long list. Brian, you mentioned you were at the stock market yesterday. We'll be watching it again today. So far, how's this all playing out in the markets overseas and the U.S. futures right now this morning?
Yeah, well, I mean, as all those headlines that I just kind of recapped were happening, there was maybe some optimism that with the de-escalation of the tariff conversation between specifically the United States and Canada, that maybe we would see a green end of the day. Didn't happen. All 3 major indexes ended the day in the red. I'm watching market futures right now. It does imply a market that could open up in the green, but of course, we'll have to see.
All right, Brian Chung, we know you'll be on top of all of it. Thank you so much. Over on Capitol Hill, House Republicans passed a 6-month funding bill with the deadline to avoid a government shutdown quickly approaching. That deadline, Friday night. The vote was mainly along party lines. The bill narrowly passed 217 to 213. One Republican, Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie, voted against it. Democratic Congressman Jared Golden of Maine voted in favor. The measure now heads to the Senate, where its future is unclear. Following yesterday's vote, House Speaker Mike Johnson took a victory lap.
Well, this was a big vote on the House floor. The Republicans stood together, and we had one Democrat vote with us to do the right thing, and that is to fund the government. This was a clean CR. It freezes funding. It's a responsible thing to do.
For the latest, let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Sirkin. Julie, good morning. So walk us through yesterday's vote. How was the Speaker able to get this through? What was in the final bill that united nearly all House Republicans?
Yeah, good morning, Joe. Nearly all House Republicans, for the exception of Thomas Massie of Kentucky, who's made it very clear at the start of Speaker Johnson's speakership this year that he's going to be on a no on pretty much everything. You see what's in this bill on your screen. It basically maintains status quo spending levels under the last administration. It pluses up defense spending slightly, and it cuts non-defense spending by $13 billion. That last item was part of the reason why Democrats voted against it. They also voted against it because they really didn't have a seat at the table at this process, and it was done by design. Speaker Johnson, President Trump, working the phones, working his members, trying to get all of them lined up behind this interim funding bill, and he had also this to say after it passed. Watch this.
Now that the government funding bill has been passed out of the House, we send it to the Senate, and it falls on the desk of Chuck Schumer. He is the leader of the Democrats on that side, and he must determine whether he wants to fund the government, do the responsible thing, or whether he wants to shut the government down. And I certainly hope that there are enough Democrats in the Senate who have a conscience, who will do the right thing by the American people and take care of business over there.
Johnson's intention this entire time has been to pass this with just Republican votes, and he pretty much did this. One Democrat joined Republicans to pass this through to the Senate, which will certainly put pressure on those Democrats.
All right, so let's talk about how Democrats are reacting to this right now.
Yeah, we heard from Leader Jeffries, the Democratic leader. Remember, he has said that his members will not provide votes for Republicans. He was pretty much right, with the exception of Jared Golden, the one Democrat who joined Republicans in passing this along. Jeffries said that they won't join Republicans in doing this, like I said, in part of the reason because they didn't have a seat at the table. And the biggest reason is because in order to get those hardline Republicans to support this interim funding bill, many of them never vote for stuff like this. Trump and his allies, including Russ Vought, had to tell them that they will claw back or cut future spending. Congress doesn't like the executive branch not spending the funds they already appropriated, and it's why Jeffries had this to say in part. Watch.
It is unacceptable, and that is why there was a strong showing of opposition amongst House Democrats. The partisan Republican spending bill will hurt everyday Americans, and House Democrats will never be complicit in their reckless scheme.
House Democrats made their play. Now all eyes are on the Senate, Joe.
All right, let's talk about that. Maybe the House was the easy part. The Senate, you got a Friday night deadline looming. And unlike the House and the Senate, Republicans do need Democrats, quite a few of them. Where do things stand?
They need 8 of them, and that is also because Senator Rand Paul, who hates CRs, hates these interim spending bills, said he's going to vote against it. John Fetterman, a Democrat, already said he's going to vote for the CR. They need 7 more Democrats. You do have folks from vulnerable states, folks that are up in 2026, and people who represent large populations of federal workers. Democrats are really in a bind here. I asked Chuck Schumer yesterday what they're going to do after a lunch that ran nearly 2 hours, a closed-door meeting the Democrats had. I heard there was a debate in there over how to move forward. This is a big deal for Democrats. Republicans have threatened to shut down the government before. They have shut the government down before. But for Democrats, this is something that they've been beating the drum on for years. I find it very hard to believe still that Democrats will vote to shut it down on Friday, especially with a recess around the corner that I know everybody in the Senate and House really is looking forward to.
All right, Julie, thank you so much. Appreciate it. A hearing for Columbia University graduate Mahmoud Khalil is set to take place this morning. The Palestinian activist was arrested by ICE agents over the weekend, even though he's a permanent legal U.S. resident. Attorneys for Khalil say he will not be present at the hearing, which is happening today in New York. His arrest touched off rallies demanding his release in U.S. cities coast to coast last night. This case is raising legal questions about deporting legal permanent residents of the U.S. It's also raising some free speech issues. NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos joins us with more on this. So let's talk about today's hearing. It's to challenge his arrest. That's different from perhaps a potential deportation proceeding. So what will we see today? Is it possible he could be released?
It is possible. There are a lot of procedural things going on here. First, there's a petition for habeas. In other words, they're challenging the legality of his detention. But also, they filed a motion to say, hey, you sent him down to Louisiana to one of the facilities down there, and there actually are a few different facilities in Louisiana that hold people who are being prepared for removal. You got to bring him back, they're saying, because you're making it just unbelievably difficult for him to defend his case by simply detaining him and then shooting him off to Louisiana. I can tell you as a criminal defense attorney, having a client incarcerated is a tremendous barrier to representation. Having a client incarcerated 1,000 miles away is tenfold more difficult, especially when it's difficult to contact them. So a couple different things could be happening today, but the district court has the power to at least stop these proceedings until jurisdiction and other issues are determined.
Let's talk about the immigration side of this. Khalil is a green card holder, a permanent U.S. resident. Does that mean it's safe to assume his free speech rights are protected by the Constitution here?
Yes, they are. But green card holders are subject to a number of additional laws and additional reasons why their green card can be revoked. The most common ones that we as criminal defense attorneys are aware of are if you get convicted of a crime. Now, the definition of the crime that qualifies causes lots of confusions, but that's probably not the basis we're going to see here. We're probably going to see the less often invoked basis of national security concerns, whether that be assisting a foreign terrorist organization, espionage, something along those lines. Espionage, probably not. But some of those other areas are a little more squishy, like providing material support to a foreign terrorist organization. That might be a little easier bar for the government to clear, and it is the government's burden to make that showing.
So the law does allow for the government to deport non-citizens, even green card holders, in certain circumstances. So what does the Trump administration have to prove here to get there?
It depends which way they elect to go, but most likely the indications are now they're going to use the national security exceptions, or I should say the reasons, justifications for revocation of a green card. There are several different reasons. Believe it or not, and this was a surprise to me, I don't know if this has ever been invoked. If you're on public assistance, that can be a reason for terminating or revoking your green card status. I don't know that that's ever actually used, but the point is there are a number of different reasons under the INA, the statute that controls, that allows for revocation of green cards. There are the versions that we deal with all the time in criminal court, which are criminal convictions for a felony or some other kind of crime. But there are other reasons, too, that are less often invoked, and national security is one of them. And even though the government has the burden, the challenge here is going to be that these definitions are a little bit nebulous.
We should note any formal charges against Khalil are still pending. If he does end up facing charges for his involvement in these pro-Palestinian demonstrations at Columbia University, is that something that could be used on other foreign students who take part in similar demonstrations down the road?
Well, yes, of course. Any criminal conviction potentially involves a loss of green card, loss of status, and, of course, after that, removal. But as we've seen under the statute, they don't need a criminal conviction. There are other grounds, national security grounds, that can be used to justify revocation of the green card. But the easiest is always criminal charges. I mean, I've had that with my own clients. The challenge is the federal statute defines what criminal charges apply. But when you're in all the 50 states and the federal government, you have to figure out, well, does this fit the definition? The government might even just bypass that issue and just go to a national security concern. I don't believe they need a criminal conviction in order to get there.
All right, a lot of legal issues to discuss here, Danny. We appreciate you having you here to explain it all for us. The Secretary of Transportation is ordering immediate and permanent changes at Washington's Reagan National Airport. Now, this stems from the investigation into January's mid-air crash there. An Army helicopter and passenger jet collided, killing 67 people. As NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello reports, the investigation has revealed a stunning number of close calls at that airport.
6 weeks since the mid-air crash between an Army helicopter and an American Airlines regional jet, the new Transportation Secretary announced he is permanently limiting helicopter flights around Washington, D.C. And the FAA will roll out artificial intelligence to identify close-call trends nationwide.
We're going to make sure we've learned from this air disaster, and we're going to pay it forward so there's not other families that have to go through the pain and anguish of losing a loved one.
It comes as the NTSB reported a staggering number of close calls at Reagan National, with choppers flying down the Potomac River right off runway 33. Between October 2021 and December of 24, 15,214 close proximity events between planes and helicopters. 85 were very close, less than 200 feet vertical separation. And from 2011 to 2024, at least one automated cockpit collision avoidance warning every month. In more than half, the helicopter may have been flying above the 200-foot limit. The NTSB chair says the distances allowed between planes and choppers were dangerous.
They pose an intolerable risk to aviation safety.
Sam Lilly was the first officer on the regional jet.
The legacy for Sam is going to be obviously that we're going to find ways to reduce the probability of this ever happening to hopefully close to zero.
Secretary Duffy also calling on Congress to spend tens of billions of dollars now, expediting the process to upgrade the nation's antiquated air traffic control system. Back to you.
Tom, thank you so much. The West Coast is bracing for another round of rain and snow. Let's get a check on your morning news now. Weather meteorologist Angie Lastman is tracking the system for us. Angie, good morning.
Hello, Joe. We've got a busy couple of days ahead of us with this storm system. First up, though, it's the West Coast that's going to get in on some of that kind of impactful weather through the day today. We've already got 21 million people under flood alerts across parts of Southern California, and you can see the rain already ramping up. And this is going to be stretched not just across parts of California, but for the entirety of the Pacific Northwest and stretching, of course, south of that. We've got the rain heavy at times, the wind and the snow all on the table for folks across this region. And the flood threat is going to be something that we see through the day today across parts of California, specifically as we know those burn scar areas. By tomorrow, this system works a little farther to the east and spreads that snow over parts of the Great Basin. We'll also see some of the heaviest of the rain focused across the desert southwest. And it's still on the move even as we get into Friday. Then it's going to start to bring some of the snow to parts of the Rockies. We'll see some rain across parts of the Midwest, as well as the Mississippi Valley getting in on the potential for some severe weather. So a couple of busy days for us ahead thanks to this system. Today, though, watching for that slight risk across Southern California when it comes to flash flooding. We know that the burn scar areas are going to be problematic. We've got the mudslides, the rock slides all on the table. Los Angeles stretching up into Santa Barbara. Rainfall amounts through tomorrow, upwards of maybe 3 inches in some spots. So good amount of rain, short amount of time. Already with the topography being difficult, we could see that be an issue. Now, Sierra Mountains, they're going to pick up some additional snow, too, from this. We've got 3 to maybe even 4 feet in some of the highest locations that we could see. Now, looking ahead, though, to Friday, this is when we see a large chunk of the country under the potential of severe risk. We've got 39 million people already under the severe threat here as we get into the end of our work week. Wind gusts, tornadoes, all on the table. And this is going to be something we see, Joe, into Saturday and even Sunday as this system continues to work east. So busy, as spring normally is with severe weather outbreaks.
All kinds of weather going on. All right, Angie, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.